I call this unlocking the image of God in you. One of the things that I added to the slide that's not on your paper is it says unlocking the image of God in you, and I put on there, no religion required. I believe all of us are created after the image of our Creator. And we live in a world that's been lying to us and telling us that we're nothing more than a random accident, that we just popped into this world, and that there's no design to us, no purpose to us. We're just a biological accident. But I want to tell you, you are no accident. Amen. You were created in the image of your Creator, and your personality behavioral style is His signature on your life. Wherever you are in life, it doesn't matter, His signature is there and it cannot go away. It can be covered up, it can be masked, it can be dysfunctional. Most of us are at some level or another, but it's still there and it wants to come out. So that's why I call this becoming who you are and was never allowed to be. Someone said that to be ourselves in this world that's trying to make us into everybody else is one of the biggest challenges that we will ever face. Because we're in a world that wants to shape us and mold us into its own image. It has an ideal, and we'll talk more about that, but it has an ideal of what we ought to look like, sound like, talk like, feel like. And we get that constant barrage of information all the time. And then we have institutions, our educational institutions, our churches, the things around us, our work environment, that's all trying to shape us into a particular mold or pattern. And so consequently, many of us suppress our personalities that we were born with, and we're wondering why that we're unhappy. And one of the questions that I'm always asked, and I've been doing this a long time, done it in a lot of places, when we talk about the D, the I, S, and the C, that's the corporate language for this behavioral style. Is actually those four words, the sanguine, melancholy, phlegmatic, and choleric, were the words that Hippocrates coined when he started observing behavior in people 400 years BC. That's how old this kind of information is. Hippocrates began to observe his patients. He was a medical doctor and began to observe his patients, and he noticed they had different worldviews. And so as he was meticulously taking notes and observing this, he began to put them in these categories, and he used the body fluids to identify them, the choleric, the melancholy, sanguine, and phlegmatic, and begin to use those categories to observe people, how they viewed the world, how they responded to life. And then it was carried on. I won't go through the whole detail, but it kind of went underground for a while. A man by the name of Galen picked it up in Rome. I think it was like 60 AD, and it became popular again. It was actually introduced going forward to the United States in 1922. And it came into the universities, and interestingly enough, instead of this information going to the psychology departments and them picking it up, it actually went to the business departments. Isn't that interesting? Because let me tell you who knows this material better than anybody else, and that's your people on Madison Avenue. Because they know if they understand your behavioral style, they have access to selling you product. So they will advertise. You're going to learn after today, you're going to watch advertising, particularly car commercials, beer commercials. All those commercials you're going to see particularly how they use the personalities. You're going to watch movies different. You're going to see, well, that writer, that director, they knew the personalities and they incorporated them all into the movie. And those are the movies that we like best because they resonate with something inside of us. We're going to learn how to celebrate ourselves and celebrate others. So we're not actually putting people in a box. And sometimes people say, well, you're just trying to put me in a box. Actually, we're getting you out of your box. When you become who you are, who God created in His image, your Creator, when you become who He created you to be, then you are out of your box. And transformation takes place at an exponential level. There's people sitting all over this room that's been through my seminars, and some of them a number of times now. And every time they find another layer, and that's kind of the way this works, another layer here, another layer there, and we begin to unfold who we are and unpack that. And the more we do that, the better we are. In fact, it's part of our personal growth and development. I've got these in your notes just so you know this, and I can address it. Personal growth must be planned. If you don't have a personal growth plan, then you don't know which way you're growing or if you're growing at all. So you got to have a plan. What is your personal growth plan? What books are you reading? What classes are you taking? What are you doing to improve yourself? I made a statement one time in a seminar I was doing. I said, I can tell you where you're going to be 5 years from now by the books that you're reading. What are you taking in? What are you feeding yourself with? Well, one guy came up to me after the seminar, and bless his heart, he didn't really know what he was saying to me, but he said, well, you're not going to know where I'm going to be 5 years from now. And I said, why is that? And he said, because I don't read. So I don't read books. I said, yeah, I know where you're going to be 5 years from now. He said, where? And I said, right where you are right now. Well, the point is, what we're taking in today is what we are going to do tomorrow. What we're sowing today is what we're going to reap tomorrow. Now, you would think that I'm at the age that I wouldn't read anymore, but I'm telling you, I'm reading more books today than I've ever read in my life. I'm constantly reading, and I love the electronic stuff that we have, because wherever I am, I can be reading. I was sitting the other day in a doctor's office waiting on an appointment, and as general in a doctor's office, they're running a little behind, but I don't even care, because I'm reading, constantly have on my phone or my iPad, wherever I'm at, so I'm constantly taking in new material. That's why every time you take one of these classes, it's different, because I'm always adding stuff to it. So every time you take it, you're going to get something different. So we have to have a plan. Growth is not automatic. It does not necessarily come with experience. Because here's what happens. Somebody said, practice makes perfect. No, it does not. Because if you're practicing the same problem over and over and over again, you're just going to keep producing the same problem. I like to play golf. I don't play much anymore. Since I'm retired, I don't have time, but that's really a true statement. But, you know, I would go to the driving range and practice and practice and practice, and I had the best slice. I practiced that slice over and over and over, till one day I finally took a lesson from somebody that knew what I was doing wrong and could correct it, and so now I practice something different. The only way practice makes perfect is when you correct what you're practicing so you can have a different results. Einstein said it. It's insanity to do what? Keep doing the same thing and expect a different outcome.